Hello, Tim from Fair Play Now on the 3rd of September 2021. Quite a significant date because it's the 82nd anniversary of the start of the Second World War, at least as far as Britain and France were concerned anyway. And many people think that we are actually in the Third World War right now as we speak. And I'm going to explain or examine whether that's true or not with the situation we're facing at the moment. First of all, obviously the situation is global, so it certainly fits the first part of the description of World War. And whether it's a war or not, it depends on your definition of war, I guess. And it certainly doesn't involve armies and bombs and bullets, well, apart from the occasional rubber bullet that the Australian police are firing on people, but apart from that, it's not involving those things yet. But you can say there is such a thing as psychological warfare, and I think there's plenty of evidence out there to suggest that psychological manipulation has been going on big time. You only have to read State of Fear by Laura Dodsworth that came out 2 or 3 months ago to see that. So you've certainly got psychological trickery going on that has affected a large part of the population badly. So we've got that going on. And you can also say that the kind of weaponry being used is that. And it depends on exactly what's in it and whether that is going to be as bad as what people are sort of predicting. If it is a war, it's again a very different war. I mean, it's not country versus country. It's really governments and the big multinational corporations and bodies on one side versus the ordinary people like you and me on the other. So this time round, the sort of German and Japanese people are our allies, but perhaps the governments in those countries are the enemies, as alongside the governments of pretty much everywhere else as well. So I'm saying that we're in the Third World War is a very big statement. I'm not sure if I'd classify it as a war, strictly speaking. It's certainly an operation in the sense of a kind of a military operation, or an operation being conducted by governments and scientists and all these other kind of advisory bodies, as well as certain big companies. And yeah, I think it's something. It's certainly a very, very serious situation. It might not be quite the level of a Third World War, but it's certainly a very serious situation. There's already been many casualties along the way, and there's already been a lot of suffering and economic damage along the way. And yeah, it's hard to know how to fight back against it. And you can't really sort of fight back against it with sort of violence as you normally would in a war, because that's just playing straight into their hands. And as soon as a certain group of people become violent, the governments around the world can just use it as an excuse to lock down even more and bring in even more tyrannical measures and all the rest of it. So that is certainly not the way to play it. I think a great example would be how things are happening in France at the moment. I mean, they really are pushing back massively against things in very innovative ways as well. As I said a video or two ago, you know, this thing where they're just sitting down in the street in front of cafes and bars and just having their own drink and food, and picnics and things. And that is one way we can fight this. And I'm sure there's dozens and dozens and dozens of other ways in which this can be fought as well. So I kind of remain ever confident that we will win this war, if you want to call it that, war in inverted commas. I don't know how or when exactly that's going to happen, but I just kind of feel it here. It's kind of a gut feeling, a feeling in my heart. Yeah, we're definitely on the right side of history. There's no doubt about that. I think more and more people are waking up. I had a very interesting conversation with Lorraine, my wife, this morning. She went out to see a friend last night, and the friend was saying she hasn't seen this friend for a long time. I think sort of since last year, actually. And the friend was saying that they certainly think, yeah, there's something badly wrong with the situation. It's, yeah, not always as it seems. Yeah, she's not believing in the mainstream narrative. She has had that times two, but she is kind of deeply suspicious of what's going on. And I think if one sort of person like that is thinking along those lines, there's going to be hundreds of thousands like her all up and down the country who are either waking up or have woken up, or were sort of a little bit kind of suspicious all the way through, but just went along with things up till now. But I don't think they're going to be going along with these things for too much longer. So I think a turning point is coming. I think we've got a few more heartbreaks and heartaches to come before that happens, but the turning point will come. I'm absolutely positive and certain about that in my heart. Obviously I can't be in my head or brain, but in my heart I am kind of certain that is going to happen. So I've witted on long enough for this video. I think just a few thoughts there. I think we should sort of spare a thought for everybody who suffered and died in the Second World War, and yeah, I think I'll leave it on that. That's a fitting note to finish this video on. Tim from Fair Play Now. Thanks for watching.